Well, good morning, everybody. This is Pastor Jay, and I'm coming to you from Cornerstone Church this morning, just before our Jesus 45 on Thursday meeting. And we are here today to continue our Digging Deeper devotional series for the week, which comes from the end of Acts chapter 9. That's our springboard for this week, the healings of Aeneas and the resurrection of Dorcas. And we're talking about principles of healing and answering the call of healing. So some of the big takeaways from our sermon on Sunday were this. Healing happens when we get close enough to God to see what He is doing. It's always essential for us to see what God is doing when it concerns healing. Healing must be chosen. And what we're learning, and we're going to see it again today, is that the one who chooses is often specific to the situation that we're in. But choosing aside, the path of healing, when the path is revealed, must be obeyed. And pathways of healing are different in length of time and effort and direction sometimes. Healing always brings a harvest, and healing does bring a responsibility of discipleship. So let's take a look. Today we're going to be in Luke chapter 6, and we're looking at the healing of the man with the withered hand. So let's just read this through and make some observations as we go along. On still another Sabbath, Jesus went into the synagogue, and he was teaching, and a man there whose right hand was shriveled. A man was there whose right hand was shriveled. The Pharisees and the teachers of the law were looking for a reason to accuse Jesus. So they watched him closely to see if he would heal on the Sabbath. But Jesus knew what they were thinking and said to the man with the shriveled hand, "Get up and stand in front of everyone." So he got up and stood there. Then Jesus said to them, "I ask you, which is lawful on the Sabbath, to do good or to do evil, to save life or to destroy it?" He looked around at them all and then said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." He did so, and his hand was completely restored. But the Pharisees and the teachers of the law were furious and began to discuss with one another what they might do to Jesus. And so here you have a situation where Jesus, who is already a controversial figure, walks into a synagogue, goes to a synagogue, and gets up to teach and preach at this synagogue. And he's teaching, and there's a man who has his right hand shriveled. And so the teachers and the Pharisees of the law, and this is really what Jesus saw God doing. Jesus was often called to confront the Pharisees and the Sadducees' legalism and political expediency. And so Jesus is teaching, and we don't really know what he's teaching on this particular day, but he's teaching the things that he's been teaching, like he taught in the Sermon on the Mount. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. Blessed are you when you are persecuted. All of these things that he has been teaching, which are fairly controversial to the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Anyway, they're looking for a way to accuse Jesus. And Jesus sees that God is creating a confrontation. And so he calls the man with a withered hand to get up in front of everybody. And he's about to do a miracle. He's about to do a healing work on the Sabbath day to confront the legalism and the political and religious expediency of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And he sees that God, his Father, is actually calling him to this work. And so he asks this question, "I ask you, which is lawful on the Sabbath, to do good or to do evil, to save life or to destroy it?" And the Pharisees won't walk into that trap because they know that they will then have to answer the question about whether God is merciful or not. And so they don't answer. So Jesus gets angry with them and then performs the healing. And it seems to be no difficult work for him to do this healing. He just says, "Stretch out your hand." And the man stretches out this withered hand, and as he stretches it out, it is completely completely restored. On the other hand, Jesus' relationship with the Pharisees and Sadducees is completely destroyed. And because now Jesus has drawn this line in the sand between legalism and mercy. And he has very clearly indicated which side of that line he is on. This is the harvest that we're talking about. The harvest always builds the true kingdom, and sometimes that flies in the face of religious error and religious experience. Because in our religiosity, we lose our relationship with God, and God is all about relationship, and God's kingdom is all about relationship. So healing will always bring a harvest that drives us deeper into the pathway of relationship with God and with his kingdom and with others. All right, that's all I have to say for today. I leave you to think about these things. Please leave a like on the YouTube site if you have not done that before. You can also subscribe and follow. Would love to have you as a subscriber to the YouTube page, but also leave your comments in the Facebook page if you have them. Until we meet again, God bless you and be at peace.